Hello, everybody. Just getting going. Gonna pin myself. Welcome, 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 everyone. I am actually not at home. Obviously, this is not my house. Um, I am staying at Ocean Edge tonight. I'm here with a little getaway with Ocean Edge and Alala, which you may know. And if you don't, you're going to see a lot of them on my Instagram this week. I'm just admitting everybody, and then we're going to get started in a second. Wow, I love how many people are coming on live. This is amazing. If you haven't joined, well, I guess last week was our first live training. Use the chat feature. You guys are here. So use the chat feature to ask questions live in real time and I can answer them. And we're going to get started in just 1 minute. So please use the chat feature. Let me know what your one main goal is for this week. I would love to know. Or alternatively, you can tell me what one of your biggest wins was from last week. But all right, let's get going. Today, we are talking about macros and carb cycling. These are two of the pillars of the Faster Way, and hopefully you know a little bit about them from when we first started. But if you are not familiar with what a macro is, you are about to be enlightened. So we do. All right, I'm going to go because I can't stare at my screen the whole time because I get distracted. So hopefully nobody comes in the next couple of seconds because I'm going to miss them. All right. So you guys may not be sure what macros are, why they should matter to you, but eating the correct macros is a powerful strategy that we use here in the Faster Way. To help you leverage better nutrition for better results. It's also a key component to us here in the Faster Way lifestyle. Macros is just a short way of saying macronutrients, and they're the molecules our bodies need to function. They're broken down into 3 basic categories. Hopefully you guys know these already: carbohydrates, protein, and fats. We use these as energy to help us break down nutrients, repair cell damage, grow new cells, and more. How do the macros work though? The carbs, fat, and protein that we eat on a daily basis, they have a huge impact on our bodies. For optimal health, your body needs the correct ratio of these fuel types. Many of you coming in here are not or have no awareness of this ratio. You think any calorie, it doesn't matter. Calorie is a calorie. And here in the Faster Way, well, to an extent, I do believe that, but I do think that if your goal is to lose fat and have optimal energy, by eating your macros in a correct ratio will help you get to your goals. So I'm going to say that again. So some people say, it doesn't matter where calories come from. We don't really believe that. And we actually believe that eating your macros in this correct ratio is going to help your body have optimal health. And it is going to give you more energy and it's going to help you get to your goals. So like I said, we've all been taught to count calories. So it is important to consider your caloric intake to make sure that you're eating enough. That's kind of the only time I'm really going to talk about calories, and it's to make sure that you're eating enough. It's incredibly important that we move past counting calories alone because not all calories are created equal. That's just where macros come in. So each gram of protein and carbohydrates is equivalent to 4 calories. Each gram of fat is equivalent to 9 calories. So if you've been counting calories, let's shift our focus to just focusing on macros. It's a major nutritional upgrade. I am struggling to silence my texts on my computer. So I'm sorry that they keep going off. I'm going to try to see if I can fix it. There we go. All right. So let's quickly talk about carbohydrates. I'm not going to give you guys a huge lesson plan here in nutrition, but just so you guys know, carbohydrates are primarily where we're getting our energy source from. Think about if you've ever run a marathon, those gel goos, those things, those are straight carbohydrates. Your body digests them really quick. Some carbohydrates we digest quickly and we burn through them. It's more of a slow digest. We digest them slowly. Fiber counts as a carbohydrate. And so that has a lot to do with how quickly or how slowly we do digest those carbohydrates. Some carbohydrates are processed, some are not. Some come in the form of refined foods like white flour. Sugar is obviously a carbohydrate. And then you also have brown rice and potatoes, which are also carbohydrates, but obviously your body's going to digest those at a slower rate. So there's a lot of different carbohydrates. I'm not going to get into that. We do believe carbohydrates are carbohydrates for the most part, as long as they're unprocessed. So I'm not going to focus on talking about that today. Protein is one of the building blocks for our muscles. Protein, I'm going to come out and say protein is one of the hardest but most important ones that my clients make sure they are getting once we calculate our macros. Some of you may say this is really high, I have a hard time. I'm going to say to aim to get a minimum of 100 grams for most of you. If your protein intake requirement or recommendation is north of 100, then you may struggle, but you can still do it. I have plenty of clients that hit 120 grams protein, but just know protein is one of the most important macros here in the Faster Way. And then fat is also important. Fat does not make you fat. It actually helps us stay full or keep us full, feel full and satisfied. It also actually buffers the absorption of carbohydrates. So we have a much more blunted, moderate insulin response, especially after periods of fasting. Fats are also used as an energy source like carbohydrates. Some examples of fats include meat. Think of salmon. So while that is a protein, there is a good amount of fat in that salmon, similar to beef. Poultry is a lean source of protein if you get the breast, but if you get a thigh, that is going to have more fat on it, or think of like a chicken wing. Fish, like I said, salmon, nuts, seeds, avocado, cooking oils, olives. Those are all great examples of fats. In the Faster Way, we actually recommend that you get at least 30% of your calories from fat to support optimal hormone function, ensure satiety. I can't pronounce this word. S-A-T-I-E-T-Y. Satiety. I don't know why. And at mealtime, also, fats help enhance insulin sensitivity and improve your nutrient absorption. So we recommend 30% on regular macro days, and we're going to bump that up at carb cycling when I talk to you about that. All right, let's quickly talk about carb cycling. Now that you know what macros are. All right, carb cycling is the intentional variation of how many carbohydrates you eat. And I tell my clients an easy way to think about this is you see people who do a keto diet or a low carb diet see awesome success. However, it's just not sustainable. It's not something that is going to be hormonally healthy long-term. When you go to a wedding or if you do any type of life event, it's going to be very hard to eat a low carb diet all of the time. So here in the Faster Way, we use something called carb cycling, where we're going to tap into some of those benefits that these people on these low carb diets are getting, but we're going to vary it with eating higher carb other days so that we do not damage our hormones, our body's response when we do eat carbohydrates, and we maintain an active metabolism. So the way that we do this is that we eat low carb, not no carb. We eat lower carb 2 days back to back. Those days are going to be Monday and Tuesday here in the Faster Way. You're going to aim to have 50 grams of net carbohydrates, which is total carbs minus fiber. Okay. So your goal is 50, unless you are breastfeeding or pregnant. I don't think we have any expectant clients, but if you are breastfeeding, your goal is going to be 100 net carbohydrates. And the reason behind this is that, again, we don't want you to have no carbs. We just want you to have lower carbs. And one of the ways to feel good is to add fiber. We don't want you to be having like zero fiber. That is not the goal. We don't want to have zero carbs. And the way to get those net carbs down is to add more fiber. So I eat a ton of fruit, a ton of berries, specifically on my low carb days. That is where I get a lot of my carbohydrates from. And it's also more volume. Making sure that you're eating fiber is going to help you feel regular. It's going to help you not feel bloated. So it's super important to make sure that you are getting in enough fiber. I have clients who have things like Quest bars, which I don't love, that have, what is it called? Inulin. It's like fake fiber that's added in. I mean, it's not fake, but it is fake. It makes you super bloated. So if you are eating products like that and you're feeling super bloated, that is why that could be a huge reason why. So just take note of that. So we then, after our 2 days of carb cycling of lower carbs, We then add back in with a higher carbohydrate diet starting on Wednesday. So we eat what we call a regular macro day starting on Wednesday. Now, for most of you, you are going to follow, and I said this in last week's call, you're going to follow 45% carbohydrates, 30% fats, and 25% protein on regular macro days, unless you have an autoimmune disease or you're a vegetarian. If you're a vegetarian, your protein goes down to 20 and your carbs bump up to 50. Fat stays the same. If you have an autoimmune disease like Hashimoto's, your carbs are going to go down to 40 and your protein is going to go up to 30. I do not recommend that unless you have a known, autoimmune disease like Hashimoto's. Most of you should be following the 45, 25, 30. We believe that's the optimal ratio. I truly feel better when I follow it, and we see a lot of results. When it comes to low carb days, do not worry necessarily about the percentage split. If you are using our app, we are going to provide you with your targets. It generally ends up being about 15% carbohydrates. It ends up being about 65% fats, 65% fats, 20% carbohydrates, and protein should stay the same. Protein should stay around 25. Now, that probably didn't add up to 100 because I'm doing it on the fly and they kind of vary. And the reason why they vary is that it kind of depends on how much how much fiber you have, because that will kind of vary it. Okay, so tomorrow you are going to be posting your macro goals. Now, in the app, again, I did this last week. So if you don't know how to do it, go back. I'm not going to do it in full this week. I'm just pulling up my phone to get the app up. Let's quickly just show you. Okay, so here's my app. Again, just as a reminder, if you click profile, my macro goals, click the calculator, and there you'll be able to enter in your age, height, weight, how active you are. I'll say this again. If you are nursing, you're going to select one activity level below what you identify with. If you are doing the Faster Way workouts, you are going to select moderately active. If you are just doing the Faster Way workouts, select moderately active. I do moderately active and I exercise 5 days a week for about 30 to 45 minutes. And I select moderately active. Let me say this one more time, but I'm nursing, so I select very active, if that makes sense. If you're not nursing, select what actually corresponds to what you're doing. But if you are only doing 1 or 2 days a week of the Faster Way workouts, you're going to select lightly active. If you're only going to do 1 or 2 days of the Faster Way workouts and you're nursing, you're going to select moderately active. I hope everybody got that. Again, use the chat feature if anything I say is confusing. All right, so I select very active. I'm going to say my goal is lose weight. And then here we go. I'm going to go down to low carb days. I'm going to select 100 because I'm nursing. If you are not, you're going to write 50. And then you're going to select your correct percentage. Most of you are going to select, again, that 45. Click done. And then I want everybody to screenshot this. And tomorrow you're going to post it in the Facebook group or you're going to text it to me directly. Okay. If you have filled out the new client questionnaire, I'm going to take what you've posted and cross-reference it with what you've shared there. And I will come back to you and I'll say, these look great. Some of you, I may say, this looks a little high. Let's tweak it. Let's do this. Or this looks a little low. Let's tweak it. Let's aim for this instead. So some ways that I kind of play with my clients with this algorithm is I might change how active you are to accurately get those macros that I want. The reason behind this is an algorithm. It doesn't know how much muscle you have. So some of you may be, I don't want to call you skinny fat, but I'm going to call you skinny fat just because it's an easy way. You may be skinny fat. You don't have a ton of muscle. Your metabolism might be a little bit lower than someone who is, has a lot of muscle and gained weight and wants to lose, 5 to 10 pounds, but they have a lot of muscle. And so they might need more calories to maintain that muscle mass. So that's kind of where I will play with that there, but I'm not actively going to give you all the macros. You guys are going to use the information that I just provided to find it. You're going to send it to me, post a screenshot in our Facebook group, or text it to me. And I will come back and I will say, yes, this looks good. Okay. So that being said, a few of you are, I've gotten some messages saying, I'm never hitting my protein, I'm never hitting my carbohydrates, and I'm going over in my fats. Some great sources of carbohydrates that I personally love are fruits and vegetables and brown rice and oatmeal, bananas. Dried fruit is a great source of carbohydrates. Brown rice, oatmeal, quinoa. I like Banza pasta. These are all great sources of carbohydrates that are also pretty lean. There are other sources of carbohydrates that have other stuff in them. Sorry, I just got a message from the babysitter at home. So ADD, when something distracts you and you get displaced. Okay. Other ways of carbohydrates. This is, I'm traveling and I am starving and I didn't have lunch, so I'm not going to carb cycle today. But anyway, this here is a bar, Kate's Real Food. It's delicious. I literally just ate it, so I'm using it. On the nutrition, you can look and it has 18 grams. There's actually 2 servings, so it's not 18. It's 36. 36 grams of carbohydrates in here, but then there is also 6 grams of fat, so I guess 12. So this is a pretty good source of carbohydrates, but it also has fat and it has a little bit of protein. It only has 8 grams of protein in the whole thing. But that being said, when you're doing a regular macro day, if you are consistently going over in your fats, this would be a good bar to do because it is pretty low in fat. Did I say that right? Yeah, this is pretty low in fat for a bar. Somewhat low in fat for a bar. Some bars are loaded with fats. You're going to skip that. Some of you love to snack on nuts. You're going to skip nuts on regular macro days. On low carb days, enjoy all the nuts you want. Enjoy all those high fat bars. Perfect bars are really high in fat, but on regular macro days, you're going to skip the snacks that tend to be higher in fats, because most of my clients have no problem hitting their fats because they're going to, they'll cook with olive oil. They'll put, salad dressing. They love avocado. They're eating eggs. There's stuff in that. They're eating beef. They're eating salmon. It shouldn't be that hard, in my opinion, to hit fats. Sometimes I do have clients who have a hard time hitting fats, and I'm like, just have a spoonful of peanut butter for dessert. Like, it's my favorite thing. There's also these things called fat bombs, which are delicious. Just Google fat bombs. You're going to see a ton of different recipes. I can share some with you if you want. Protein is really where my clients struggle. And a trick that I have for my clients who struggle to get protein is this should be the one thing that you meal prep. And if you struggle with meal prep, then buy protein that is ready to eat, like canned tuna, sliced turkey, shrimp cocktail already cooked, a rotisserie chicken. You can buy grilled chicken that's already cooked, things like that, so that you have it readily on hand. Lunch, I find, is probably the one where people struggle to get it in, or even like their first meal of the day. I will usually have eggs. I'll add in some egg whites so that I don't go over in my fats, but I boost the protein. I'll have some chicken sausage. I love the Applegate Farms. And I'll have some avocado and maybe some sauteed spinach. That is going to be my my go-to on low carb days to break my fast. I will do oatmeal or a smoothie or protein pancakes on regular macro days. Sometimes I will just skip that meal that is like a breakfast, and I'll just go right to lunch, and I will break my fast with a giant salad or a grain bowl. You don't necessarily have to break your fast with breakfast foods. It doesn't matter. So if you're one of these people that is struggling to hit your protein should be one of the foods that you're purchasing already ready to eat, or it's something that you're meal prepping. Alternatively, you could do a huge pot of slow cooker chicken with just some broth, maybe some salsa. I like to do slow cooker chicken with just some chicken broth, and then I'll shred it up. And then depending on my meal, I'll add like a different sauce, whether it's like a buffalo or a barbecue, or add some mayonnaise, and I'll make like a chicken salad. Super simple, easy ways to set myself up for success that week. Another meal prep thing to do is roast vegetables. That's another good one. In regards to hitting your protein though, again, meal prep this, make a huge batch of quinoa in the beginning, on Tuesday night, maybe, to set yourself up for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, things like that. Someone was saying that they do not, they're not loving the meal plan. That's totally fine. I really don't follow the meal plan all that much. I'm going to share with you guys an Excel spreadsheet of what I tend to eat on a regular basis. They're kind of just like, I don't follow the meal plan. I just make what I like and I know what fits in. Tracking macros is like a game of Tetris. In the Faster Way app, we luckily have some great resources for you. So if you look at the end of the day and say you don't have dinner planned, so the best way to success actually is to plan out what you're going to have. The night before, plan out what you're going to have. And that is the best way for success. If you don't do that and you're kind of going on the fly and you're kind of coming to dinner time and you're like, shoot, I have this, this, and this left over. How am I going to hit that? You can go into our nutrition on the, click the nutrition tab here, click recipe library. And I think you guys have access to this. I hope you guys have access to this. If you know you've got like chicken and you're like, okay, what dinner can I make with chicken? You would just click poultry. And here you'll see all of the macro totals for all the different recipes that we have here in the Faster Way. And so I would say, look and see what adds up, aligns closest to what you are trying to hit. There's so many different options. There's the most simple things, and then there's things that are more complicated. The AT Chipotle bowl, by the way, is kind of just like what Amanda gets at Chipotle. To be honest, it says the instructions are drive to Chipotle, order the above items. And so, there are ways to, find success using your app. Any questions? Any questions? Okay. And there are other simple things in here to use. One of the go-tos for low carb days here in the Faster Way is the egg roll in a bowl recipe. People love that. That is one of the go-tos. And again, you can make your own recipe and just add it in to my items. You would just do my items and add your recipe. Specify the name, whatever. Okay. One other thing that I wanted to talk about are the workouts. A few people are starting to come into them. We pair our HIIT workouts with our low carb days. The reason behind this is that in order to reap the benefits of carb cycling is that we want to deplete all of our glycogen stores. I kind of glazed over this earlier. The way that we are able to tap into our fat stores is that we first have to use up all of our glycogen, which is carbohydrates, essentially, all the carbohydrate stores that we have, and then our body is able to tap into the fat stores. That is kind of how the whole ketosis keto diet works, is that you deplete all your body's glycogen, which is why you're kind of like lethargic and your breath smells, whatever. We aren't going to have that, but you are a little bit more lethargic when your glycogen stores are depleted, because glycogen gives you energy. And then your body's able to tap into the fat stores. So when we combine that with HIIT workouts, we are better able to burn fat for fuel. Then we add back in the carbohydrates when we do our strength training. This is done intentional. We intentionally pair our workouts strategically with our food cycle. So on your low carb days, make sure that you are doing HIIT workouts, even if you're not following the Faster Way workouts. Full disclosure, I do not do the Monday, Tuesday workouts. I have a diastasis. I can't do the Monday workouts at a high intensity while doing the modifications that I should for my fitness level. I hope that makes sense to most of you. Like lung wise, I can do burpees all day, but my diastasis is not going to like me. So I just choose to do, doing a modified burpee isn't going to get my heart rate up high. So I just choose to do spin on my bike. And then when we come to Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, I am always doing the Faster Way strength. I never skip a day. It's been 3 years. Some people are saying that, where we should text screenshots. Someone asked about, Samantha asked the number that they should text. Samantha, you should be getting text messages from me. I know you signed up late. So if you didn't get one this morning, for when this call was, let me know. That's the number to text it to. Like I can mass text all of you from that, but when you text it back, I get it. So sometimes I'll be having a conversation with some of you guys via the text. Okay, Samantha, you're not getting the text. I'll make sure you get them. I think you're sending these messages just directly to me. So just send me your phone number here. I don't think anybody else can see it. I can look it up in the back end, but I'm wondering if like maybe there was a digit off. So if you just send it to me here, I can make sure that I have the correct one. Okay. And Kate asked, is it okay to switch the low carb days on a particular week? If you know for a fact that you're traveling and you're like, this just works better for me, that's fine. Just make sure that your low carb days are back to back. That's the only thing that I ask. If you get screwed one day and you're like, I can't do low carb day like me today. Whereas like I was traveling and now I'm here and I need to eat, but like I had to do this and I was again starving. So I just had a bar. Then move on. Do not dwell. Progress over perfection. If you miss one low carb day, it's not a big deal. So for the most part, I usually tell people if it gets goofed up, don't stress. But if it's like a regular thing where you're like you can never do low carb days back to back, then you can move them. But make sure that they're back to back, and those are the days that you're doing HIIT workouts. Laura asked, on MyFitnessPal, you can type in fat macro, protein macro, carb macro, and then type in how many grams to track it. It makes things super easy. If the meal isn't in library, does the Fast Way have a way to do that? I don't know exactly what you're asking. I think you mean just like a quick ad. So I think Faster Way does have a quick ad. Play around with it. So when I first started, we didn't have an app to track. So I am used to MyFitnessPal. I haven't been tracking since we got this new app in January. So I haven't used it a ton, to be honest, but I would say that you can probably just do, if you add food, it says add manually or quick add. I think you can probably do it if you just do the quick add. Yes, that's it. Quick add. Yep. Quick add. Got it. Okay. Yep. So just do the quick add. Thank you, Kate. And one more question then. Okay. Libby asked, why is it recommended to stay away from dairy for the first 30 days? I actually texted this. I'm going to go and get a blog post. So dairy, we feel, and I should have talked about this last week and I didn't. Dairy and gluten, we believe, are common foods that can cause inflammation, and they do. That's true. However, like, do they contribute to like fat gain or whatever, or inhibit your body's ability to burn fat? Like, I don't know, but we do think that it helps encourages your body to hold on to water weight. Also, a lot of people can be sensitive to dairy and gluten. And so it's almost like let's remove them, in my opinion. In my groups, I'm like, let's remove them for 6 weeks and see how you do, see how you feel, see how your skin looks. When I cut out dairy, when I was younger, my skin would be glowing, my acne would go away. My face breaks out from acne. I mean, my face breaks out from dairy. But when I used to do like photo shoots, I would always eliminate them because I wasn't necessarily losing actual weight, but it reduced bloating. And it made me look super ripped and lean, even if I wasn't necessarily losing fat or building muscle. And so we just encourage you to eliminate it to see how your body feels. I'm actually going to put a link in here as well, because someone texted me today. One of you guys texted me today, asking me about that. And so let me do a little quick, any other questions? If you have not tried the Faster Way workouts, I highly encourage you to. If you have a diastasis, you may want to skip today's workout. There's kind of a lot of ab stuff going in there. All right, I just shared the link to the reasons to consider going dairy-free. But that it's, oh my gosh, 30 minutes. Sorry, guys. There's just like a lot to cover this week. And this is why we kind of do these things slow. I had a few of you who really wanted to start tracking macros last week, and it's like there's a lot. So we focus on intermittent fasting and just focusing on real foods the first week. And then this week we really dial in. So you're all going to be sending me a text to the number that is sending you like it is me. It's not my actual phone number because I try to keep work and my phone separately. But yeah, so I do get all those. But if you text me like a Friday night, sometimes I might not respond till Sunday night because I try to have some separation. If it's an immediate question you need, DM me on Instagram because of course I can't stay away from Instagram all weekend. All right, that's it. Thank you all of you for joining me live. Amazing. Again, if you want to go ahead and just do a screenshot of your macros now and just like get it over with, do it. I will be checking them. Again, I am away, so I don't know if that means I'm going to be on more or less. I do have to do some work here. And yeah, so you guys are doing amazing. Keep it up. And I will see you guys all next week right here, right back here. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.